Tonight's species represents a fun and easy target for both young and old anglers alike and can be caught in a variety of different ways. These fish frequent inshore waters around inlets, docks, and jetties, as well as offshore wrecks and reefs. There is no better eating, and they pull hard no matter the size. We're talking mangrove snapper here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by YAMAHA.
We're back right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and when I say we, I mean me and Captain Tommy Derringer from the Alvey Reels Northeast region, filling in for Rick today. Thanks for coming to help me out, Tommy.
Thanks for having me. And on the Mango Show, the Mango Tango.
Do the Mango Tango dance.
You're going to do it later. I know you are.
All right, well, we'll come up with something.
Okay.
All right, well, some of us on the East Coast sure had a crazy weekend of Isaias uncertainty, but I'm really interested to hear from the captains as to how the storm is going to affect the bite for the weekend. So let's hear what Dave Farrell thinks at the CCA workbench. Dave?
Well, I think it's going to be a great weekend for
I think so, too.
Yeah, just go.
Just go. Can't catch a fish if you don't go fishing. What are we talking about over there today?
We're going to be talking about mangrove snapper.
Well,
how to catch them in deep water and shallow.
Huh. Imagine that.
Bigs and littles.
I'm excited. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Catch them everywhere.
Catch them everywhere. All right. Well, let's start over in the Bell's Southwest region today with Captain Ronnie Houston, who's telling us all of the details on the mangrove snapper bite and more. Go for it, Ronnie.
Well, Tommy, Bree, and Dave, it's a pleasure starting off with the Bell's Southwest region. You know, the mangrove snappers in the region can be targeted inshore and offshore, like Tommy said, throughout the region, but mostly they're targeted on the offshore side. Now, structure is going to be the key, whether it be wrecks, ledges, hard bottom, or artificial reefs. And you can simply start off as close as 5 miles off the beach and then work your way beyond. Now, next, we're going to talk about the chumming. You know, you can use box chum, cut pilchards, herring, cigar minnows, and you only want to put out enough chum just to get the fish going. And once you get the fish going, then you want to drop back small cut baits. You can use a variety of them, whether it be squid, shrimp, herring, pilchards. And you can add a little weight or you can flatline. You know, circle hooks, or you can use jig heads anywhere from an 1/8 ounce to 1/2 ounce. And your leader is going to dictate the clarity of the water. So if the water's clear, you're going to use 20-pound leaders. If the water's a little dingy and you're getting broke off, you can bump up to 40. Like I say, water clarity is going to depend on what size leaders you use. And like I said, the cleaner water usually means lighter leaders. Now, reel size is going to be depending upon what you're fishing. Strongly suggest 4,000 to 5,000 series reels. Flatlining on top, you can probably get away with a 4,000, but structure will require the use of a 5,000 just to keep them out of the structure. And I got a prime example of a nice mangrove snapper recently caught. That fish was actually caught in 90 feet of water. It's caught to the northern end of the region by a buddy of mine who's been putting in some time. There's days he catches them, days he don't, but once he figures them out, he gets back out and catches them, so you got to put in the time.
It's a good one.
On the offshore side, the red groupers. Captain McGuire reports up in the northern end of the region from Sanibel to Stunt Pass. The fish up in the northern end also seem to be moving in a little shallower. He's telling me his best depths right now have been 85 to 105 feet. His best success for keeper-sized fish has been in that range and along hard bottom. Now, cut baits have been the ticket, unlike most who are using squid. So to get the opportunity to catch some maybe fresh herring on your way out or some pilchards, he's also having success with fresh bait on the bottom, plugging them up. He says also you got to have the right amount of weight. You know, the current's varying depending upon the day and the wind. So average size is anywhere from 5 to 10 ounce. So have a variety of weights. Got to keep those baits on the bottom. Now on the inshore side, it's going to be the snook. Snook fishing's been good throughout the whole region. Captain Corey McGuire to the north says focus around the outer bars of Pine Island Sound, also the outer bows along Charlotte Harbor. Now, good water movement's going to trigger a good bite, especially those guys like to do a lot of chumming with the white bait. But to the south, from Ravi Key to Lossman's River, the outer Gulf Islands are still holding a variety of fish, particularly still some areas where there's some 35 to 40-inch fish. And here we go again, good water movement's going to trigger a good bite. Means when the tide is slack or floods, the bite tapers off. Baits of choice have been live pilchards, herring, also cut mullet and ladyfish on those hotter days, on knocker rigs, as well as a variety of artificial top water walk the dog lures, swim baits, and a variety of soft-sided plastics. And I got a couple of fish recently caught on the southern end with Capt. Brian Sanders. Those are the type fish that are being caught right now by just simply putting in the time. Last piece is going to be the redfish, Coon Key to Pavilion Key. Plenty of redfish to be caught. And it seems the fish are starting to group up a little better with some oversized fish mixed in. Now, good moving water the last half of the incoming to the first half of the outgoing. When the tide reaches its highest point, the bite slows down, but once it starts moving, the bite picks up. Now, you also want to start looking for areas of mullet, or right now there's big schools of bait starting to move inshore along the outer Gulf Islands. It'll actually look like big clouds moving through the water. And in those areas, those fish are starting to gorge, and those 24-inch redfish you've been catching for the last 3 months, they're going to start getting heavy. Cut mullet, ladyfish, live pilchards, bass assassin sea shads, and root beer, gold spoons, and bright color walk the dog lures. Things are changing a little bit to the south, and I got a nice picture of a nice redfish. The guys, weather's been good. No effects from the hurricane and the tropical storm over the last week. Get out, weather looks good for the weekend, and catch you some fish.
Thanks, Ronnie. Great report as always. Here are the Caddy Can hotspots for the Southwest region. Inshore, trout, you're going to target the outside edge along the sandbars from Cape Hayes to Turtle Bay and East Wall. And then offshore, permit, fish Gordon's Pass to Sanibel Rex, as well as the artificial reefs using live crabs.
All right, Tommy, headed up the coast, we're drifting into the TRON Central West region with Captain Jeff Page at the helm. Got mangoes, Page?
Yes, we do, and I just want to say it's great to be here. Great to hear your voice, Tommy, and great to follow up the Midnight Rider, Ronnie Houston. You know, in the TRON Central West, we have a lot of mangoes inshore as well as off. Ronnie said it best. If you want the bigger mangoes, say 10 pounds and up, you've got to put your time in out in the Gulf. And they are leader shy, and they are very slick critters. So the thing he mentioned about the chum is very important. If you over chum, it seems like the bite will shut down. But if you can get those mangoes fired up to where they come up off the bottom, light piece of 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbon with a small 2.0 or 3.0 Eagle Claw trochor. And I find the black nickel better than the shiny hooks, or even the bronze hooks better than the shiny hooks. It seems like it's more of a dull look to that mango has very good eyes. But like I said, once they get fired up, you should be able to limit out no problem. Start 90 feet of water, pay attention to your bottom machine, look for ledges and sharp bottom areas holding good bait stacks, and don't be surprised if you catch some red groupers, scamp groupers, and gags while you're out there on the mang bite. The other thing that we need to discuss is in the TRON Central West region, we have a really good inshore mango bite, especially this time of year around bridges and structure like the Skyway Pier, and then all of your inlets from Gasparilla Pass all the way up to Johns Pass. Got a couple really nice photos tonight. My first one is an offshore mango picture of First Mate Ryan Killeran aboard the Tight Lines charter with Captain Chris Seeger out of Marina Jacks with two big offshore mangs. And then my second photo is an inshore mang bite of my good friend Craig Carmichael with about a 20-inch mang he got on his kayak just last week on a small piece of shrimp.
Nice. Jeff, tell me about the amberjacks.
Amberjack, you know, the season just opened, Tommy, last week, and everything's in full gear. Guys are doing real well with them. They weren't able to get out those couple days of that tropical, but it wasn't that rough over here. And now they're back out there full steam. AJ's up to 60 pounds. They're fishing ledges, reefs, and hard bottom areas from 90 feet of water on out. And this is another species. A little chum will do it good to bring them up off the bottom. You can throw cut bait at them. You can throw live pinfish, blue runners, and Captain Jason Stock out of Anna Maria, he likes to throw the big Halco poppers, which are big, heavy-duty popping plugs, heavy-duty split rings, heavy-duty hardware and hooks, so that those big AJs don't pull off. And then the Vortex jigs like the Shimano Butterfly and the Williamson, they work real well in pink and chartreuse. Big AJ photo from, again, Tight Lines Charters, Captain Chris Seeger, and that's his first mate, Tyler, and longtime client Lonnie with a big AJ, like over 70 pounds, caught out in the Gulf.
That one looks like it probably hurt a little bit, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't want any part of those guys. Moving inshore, Rick and Tommy and Brie, you know, the snook fishing, Ronnie, I've got the same two species Ronnie's has. The snook fishing remains the mainstay in our region. And the cool thing is, Ronnie, Tommy, you can catch them in the passes along the beaches, as well as up in the bay around oyster bars and mangrove islands around the high stages of the tide. That being the last hour or so of incoming and the first hour of outgoing. And those fish have been hitting topwater plugs early morning on that early part of the incoming tide around oyster bars, around Long Bar, as well as Terracea Bay. And then down to the south, guys are doing real well in Gasparilla and Boca Grande Pass with live grunts and pinfish on that afternoon outgoing tide. I've got a snook photo tonight of Donovan Marine Rep Mike O'Hara of Sarasota with his TRON Central West shirt on. The nice snook he got down in Boca Grande. And my last species tonight, I wanted to make it mango, but since that was a theme species, I went with redfish. Redfish seems to get better every week with lots of bigger fish showing up out the mouth of the Manatee River, as far as out around Passage Key and Egmont Key on the afternoon outgoing tide. And I've also had good redfish reports from down in Lemon Bay on the higher stages of the tide around the Oyster Bar Islands. Captain Dave Monda said he got a couple really nice ones on the Saltwater Assassin Golden Brim Sea Shad in a 1/4 ounce silver jig head. And my last photo tonight is of a triple redfish release from redfish captain Griffin Deans out of Bradenton. And he's really been tearing them up around the Manatee River. And then I want to also add, do not forget, plenty of time to enter the CCA Star Tournament, which goes now through October 4th, and lots of prizes this year. And it's worth it. If you're going to fish even 3 or 4 times between now and October, it's worth it for the opportunity you have to win the boats and prizes.
But you have to be registered and a member.
That's right. I got my kids signed up because there's some scholarships in there too.
Oh yeah.
So, hey, thanks, Jeffrey. Always great. Here are the Daiquiri Deck hotspots for the Central West region. Inshore, fish Longboat Pass Bridge or the Rod and Reel Pier at night with live silver mullet or ladyfish for snook and tarpon. And then offshore, good-sized amberjacks holding on ledges and wrecks in 90 to 120 feet of water off Venice Jetty south to Boca Grande. Use live pinfish or blue runners. Those are going to be your best bet.
And wear your back brace. That was a big AJ.
Oh my gosh, that thing was gigantic.
I'm
that
already
yes.
hurting. We're getting
that
old,
would hurt.
Tommy. We're getting old.
You're gonna.
Yes, I said we. All right, stay hooked, everyone. We're headed to the Keys when we return, but first we're getting some insider insights at the CCA workbench for rigs and techniques with Dave Farrell. Are we going to catch some mangoes with you today, Dave?
Yes, we are. They'll show you a little difference between the offshore and the inshore right there.
Oh, there you go.
Big and little.
I'm
Big ones
hooked
are offshore.
already. See you soon.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by YAMAHA. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Noble Air Charters, raising the bar yet again. RHODAN, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Sirius XM Marine, weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. And Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Reliability. YAMAHA is legendary for it. But it's more than a legend. It's something boaters have come to value. Why? Because it's rare. Because in this fast-paced, single-use world, few things are built to last. So when we find something that is, we hold on for dear life, to friendships, to traditions, to outboards. Because it's the lucky few who get to spend as much time on the water as they'd like. The rest of us, we look forward to those precious few days. That makes every second sacred. Every moment mean that much more. And it drives us to wring the most of every minute we get on the water, having incredible adventures, fighting the fish, making unforgettable memories. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters choose YAMAHA for the long run, for life. Because reliability starts here.
What started in the flats and bays has migrated offshore. GPS-guided trolling motor technology has moved to boats in the 35-plus foot class and allowed anchoring capabilities on most center consoles in any depth of water, from snook and redfish inshore to grouper and swordfish way out deep. RHODAN Marine Systems has a GPS anchor to hold your vessel on location. Set it, forget it, catch more fish.
The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvi Sidecast reels allow you to cast over 150 yards with up to 900 yards of capacity. Alvi's state-of-the-art drag and 22-inch retrieve rate per wind is perfect for any surf challenge. Alvi reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvi also comes with a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alvius.com.
Dave, we're here at the CCA workbench for the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques. We got some mango tangoing to do, right?
Yes, sir. Well, you know, the mangrove snapper is really cool fish because, you know, of all the snapper species, he's by far the most accessible to everybody. I mean, you can use them to train your little kids how to fish because they frequent docks and piers and places, boat launch ramps, marinas. There's always tons of those little jokers around, and they're great to teach your kids how to fish. At the same token, you know, you can go offshore and catch great big ones, you know, up to 10, 12, 14 pounds, you know, if you go at nighttime and you're fishing in the right places. So these snappers are just, you know, a great fish because they're really good to eat.
They are.
They fight hard no matter what size they are. Even the little guys put up a good fight.
They do. They really do fight really good.
And they usually eat pretty good if you do the right things.
It's a day saver a lot of times.
If you do the right things. Now, inshore, you know, you're usually targeting the smaller fish, you know, less than 5 pounds. And, you know, a live shrimp is probably your best bait of all on a jig head. You know, a small jig head with a live shrimp is, you know, that's going to be your killer thing. Even a piece of it, sometimes you can cut a shrimp off in half and use little pieces of it. But you're going to be looking for those fish, again, around mangrove islands, you know, up underneath the mangroves, any place where there's little rock piles and that sort of thing. And, you know, use 20-pound test or even lighter leader. Use fluorocarbon in the day. If you can get 10-pound fluorocarbon, I would use 10-pound fluorocarbon in the day.
That makes a difference a lot of times.
It makes a huge difference because mangrove snappers are very wary. They can see really well. Just like a tuna fish, you know, the tuna is one of those guys that you got to be careful about hiding your baits and whatnot. Now, offshore, you know, that's where the big ones are. And usually when you're targeting the bigger fish, you have to go at night.
Right.
And my buddy Cypazam, this is what he does. He targets these things all the time up there. And he likes to go at night, and they'll anchor up, you know, up current from a wreck or something, and whatever, rock pile, ledge, where they know they are. And what they'll do is instead of putting out a chum bag, which is first thing you do inshore, you know, is to get them up around you.
It's too much.
If you put a chum bag offshore, well, it feeds them a lot, which is a bad thing.
Right.
But second and most important, it brings sharks.
Right. Then it's done.
Yeah. Once the sharks show up, the mangroves do not play. They don't hang. So what he does is he gets sardines, you know, Spanish sardines, and he just cuts them into little wafer-thin slices, like 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, you know, steaks. And he'll toss some out to the right, and he'll toss some out to the left, and he'll sit and wait 5 minutes, and he'll do it again. And he'll do that for like 15 or 20 minutes, throwing out those little wafer-thin pieces. And then what he'll do is he'll take a tail or a head. He won't use a whole one. He'll use a half of one, and he'll stick it on, you know, like a 7/0, like that one I got, like that 7/0. He'll free line it.
Right. You kind of hide the hook in the bait.
Yep, and he'll free line it with, and just let it sink back. And he'll put the rod in the rod holder, usually a spinning rod, and he'll dump, you know, a bunch of line in the water. He'll throw it out and he'll dump a bunch of line. You don't want any tension. He doesn't want any tension on it. He tells me, he goes, oh, you know, you're holding it there and you're letting the line out. You're still putting tension on it. And I go, yeah, okay. So, but he said he gets rid of all that.
You got to make it look like just a piece of
right. He just dumps a whole bunch of line in the water and lets it float back. And then, you know, once you get bit, you got to wait 2 or 3 seconds, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and then you'll wind.
That's why that circle hook comes in handy.
And give them the business. And those in the daytime, you're going to have to use fluorocarbon. At night, you can get away with using 60-pound regular leader because they really don't care about the leader at nighttime.
I know the guys up by me, they'll use 20 or 30-pound fluorocarbon sometimes during the day.
Right. If you're going to be fishing for artificial lures, any little Manhattan-looking lures, the gotcha is my favorite lure around when you're around a jetty or a bridge down in the Keys. You can throw that under any bridge down there and just jerk that thing as fast as you can jerk it, and you'll catch little mangrove snappers.
Yep.
And if you can catch a 10-inch one, you catch 2 or 3 10 inches, you've got enough for tacos, man.
Yeah.
So
right, that's right.
And they make they've got really good firm white meat, and they're easy to clean. So, and it doesn't take many to make a good meal. The bigger ones are, unlike a lot of fish, they get bigger and bigger. They're not as good. Well, a big mangrove snapper is just as good as a little tiny one. Yep. They're all good. So if you can get into a mangrove snapper, he's the man. He's the one we want to catch.
It's a fun fish, Brie. It's really
He's the
fun.
man. Well, I might have to borrow that gotcha and take it down to the
You
Keys
can take
with me.
several.
Okay.
Because you're going to need them.
I'm going to need them.
They get lost.
All right. I don't know about you guys, but I am so ready to get my keys on. And to do that, we need to listen carefully to Captain Randy Tao. Get us excited for the weekend, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. Here in the Garmin Keys region, we've been talking about mangrove snappers for the last couple of months. And really, it starts happening in Florida Bay. It's unique in the Keys where we have a lot of these mangrove snappers that come out of the mangroves, they come out of the Gulf, and they get in the thick grass channels in the backcountry. And you can have some really good mangrove fishing. June, May, July, they start to thin out. And you notice everybody talking about fishing on the edge of the reef in July, especially around the full moon. So a lot of people take advantage of that spawn on the ocean side, anywhere from 30 to 50 feet. It's usually not real deep, but it's on a rocky, hard bottom, and you're going to find these mangrove snappers at night. You can catch them during the day, but the big thrill are guys going at night, especially around those moons, and they do it up and down the Keys, Key Largo to Key West. And, they don't chum as heavy as you would for yellowtails, but they use, cut bait, they use pilchards, they'll use a pinfish, and a lot of times glass minnows is a great chum to use to get these things going. I've got a photo from Captain Matt Bellinger with Bamboo Charters here in Alamorada, and this is a backcountry mangrove they caught a few days ago.
Nice, that's what it's all about there, Randy.
Oh, cutie.
The dolphin fishing is still pretty good. You can't really say it's red hot because not everybody's catching them, and some people are, some people aren't. I can tell you, some of the guys that are catching the bigger fish are really paying their dues with looking for birds. They're looking for the right set of birds, ones that are behaving correctly, where they're feeding into the current, or there may be 2 or 3 birds in a pack. And they're really weeding out a lot of the small schoolie fish, which we had a couple of weeks ago. And some of the bigger fish are being caught. You've got to be ready. You got to have your rods rigged. You got to have live bait. And as soon as you get a fish on, be aware of the others around you. And remember, it's like a highway. If you've got a fish on, keep him out there, and he'll direct you which way the fish are going. That way you can stay in their lane. If you get off, sometimes that's how you get out of the fish, and you only catch 1 or 2. But if you get them behind your boat or you stay with them, you're going to catch a lot more. And I've got a photo from Captain Davy Jones with Munster Fishing out of the Square Grouper here in Alamorada with his angler, Jenny Derrick, with a nice dolphin. And I've also got our very own Brie, caught down off Marathon.
Oh, nice job.
Everything
there,
you
Brie.
say is true, Randy.
Tell me about some cobia, Randy.
I can tell you it's a fact. So the backcountry cobia fishing is still, it's one of those things you can never write it off or not think it could happen. It happened just the other day. We were snook fishing, and all of a sudden a bull shark shows up. Now you hear people talking about the shark problem, and that's what happens. If you get into snook or redfish or something right now, there's lemon sharks, there's bull sharks, and a lot of these bull sharks have cobias on them, which if you're ready and you're expecting that to happen, you can catch them. And you want to have a pinfish or at least a white jig maybe with a worm on the end of it, something quick you can grab, because this opportunity is really quick when it happens. But if you're ready, you can catch a nice cobia like Hunter Gill caught. He's the lead singer of the band Swamp Pirates out of Fort Lauderdale.
All right, Randy, tell us about the snook.
You know, the snook fishing is still pretty good. You know, Tommy, last year we had a great day in the backcountry, and no different this year. There's still plenty around now, depending on how you want to do it. If you're up on the flats, or if you're on some of the deeper spots, beaches, channels, live pinfish is the baited choice, which has been working really well. And I've been talking to guys that have been up on the flats around Flamingo, and they said the fishing's been really good in a foot of water, and they're doing a lot of casting with gold spoons and copper spoons. And I've actually got a photo from Captain Richard Black with Black Fly Charters and his angler with this 40-inch snook they sight cast to with a gold spoon.
Nice. Man, that is a big old snook. That's kind of the size that we caught last year, Randy, when I was down there fishing with you.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. I guess that's where they are. The big ones are up on the flats this year.
So pretty.
Wow, that's cool.
How yellow it's been there.
Well, thank you, Randy. Here are the Sunset Inn hot spots for the Keys region. Inshore, snook. Fish the incoming tide on top of the flats around Flamingo and also along the shoreline for best results. And then offshore, dolphins. Start looking for birds in 400 feet. Make sure you find working birds to set up on. Don't be distracted by fast flying birds not working. You got all that?
It's the truth. I got all that. Yep. I took
what
Randy taught me, and I used it on the water today, and then I came to work to talk about it.
And you brought pictures, and you didn't bring us any fish, though.
Not yet. I'll bring you some soon, I promise. All right. Tonight we are talking mangrove snapper, and CCA Florida has added snapper as a species in the Youth Scholarship Division. You were just talking about scholarship and your kids, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Catch photo and enter your child's photo with their fish on the official device Instar to win. 12 winners will be drawn, and $100,000 in scholarships will be awarded. Entry is free to New Tide members ages 6 to 17, so go to ccafloridastar.com and register today. That's great. They're opening up all these new divisions, especially for young anglers. All right, we're coasting into the Casa Vieja Southeast and Fish Bites East region when we return here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. So stay hooked, and we'll be right back. Some mango picking.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. Garmin, join the club. Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealership, serving Southeast and Southwest Florida and Florida's Space and Treasure Coasts. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
Every year, Noble Air Charter flies over 20,000 outdoorsmen and families just like you, economically, to over 300 Bahamian and Florida destinations. Noble Air Charter makes a substantial investment improving booking and aircraft route planning to create the most affordable and economical flight possible. And tomorrow, Noble Air's team will rise to the challenge to raise the bar yet again.
Navigating at night can be dangerous, even for the most experienced drivers. With over 400,000 pixels, Night Track makes it possible to navigate in the dark with confidence. Night Track seamlessly interfaces with all multifunction displays, 2013 or newer, and offers boaters or the outdoorsman peace of mind at an affordable price. For more information, call 251-605-9100.
So I'm here at Eric's Outboards, and with me is Tony. And Tony, let's talk a little bit about a 20-hour versus a 100-hour check. First off, what do we do on a 20-hour check?
On a 20-hour check, Rick, we do gear oil and engine oil and your fuel filters. And what we're looking for during that check is any type of imperfections, any metal shavings within the lower unit or engine oil, anything that stands out that's not out of the norm. With a 100-hour check, that's a little bit different. It's more intense. We do gear oil, engine oil, water separators, fuel filters, oil filters, spark plugs, zincs, impellers, and then lastly we spray it down with YAMAHA Shield. Of course, this particular engine, this 200 we have right here behind us, is an engine that we sold here about 3 years ago. They have a little over 2,270 hours on them, and we service them religiously. So this customer went and ran it, got the 20 hours, brought it to us, we serviced them, checked everything was perfect, and then every 100 hours, the boat's here. So it comes in multiple times a year to get serviced.
So for the do-it-yourselfer guy at home, what recommendations? When he gets his parts, he needs to start the motor up, heat it up, of course.
Yeah, so what the process is here is the boat comes in, our master tech tears it down, inspects everything. If everything is as it should be, then he goes and starts installing everything. Of course, always is OEM parts is what you want to use. If you have warranty and you use something other than that, it's going to void the warranty. So always use your OEM parts from Yamaha. And as he drains the oil and fills the oil, does the impeller, at the last step is he turns the motor on the hose, shifts it in and out of gear, and makes sure it's right. After that, shuts it down, sprays it all down with YAMAHA Shield.
Yamaha makes a great service bulletin. It's called Yamaha Maintenance Matters. Guys, you can pick it up at your local Yamaha dealership. And Tony, thank you so much for educating me on what to do on our 100-hour check.
Just when I was starting to miss Rick, there he is.
There was. Hey, Yamahas, they're so reliable. If you keep up with your service, which is really easy to do, they make it really easy.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Like anything, you got to take care of your equipment,
you
right?
You got to take care of it.
Take care of it. All right, if you want to get into the mangrove snapper bite in the Casa Vieja Southeast region, you're going to want to listen up to Captain Jimbo Thomas for all of the juicy details. Hey, Jimbo, juicy.
Yeah, I got lots of details. Hey, Brie. Hey, Tommy. And hey, Dave. You know, in the Southeast region, we do have plenty of mangrove snapper, but pretty much any inshore or offshore structure will hold mangroves. They can be found around any of the bridges up and down the intercoastal waterway, as well as the creeks and inlets, and also the artificial reefs. Now, my buddy Captain Wayne Kahn, who runs and operates the Reward fishing fleet out of Miami Beach, out of Miami Marina, he tells me that his favorite time to fish for mangroves is from the middle of May through August, which is right now. And he's been finding fish anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds, with the occasional fish up to about 6 pounds. He's been anchoring on the outside reefs, anywhere from 40 to 60 feet of water. And he's been fishing with live pilchards, cut sardines, silver sides, and he's been fishing with anywhere from 20 to 30 pound tackle, 30 to 40 pound mono or fluoro leaders, and using 1/0 to 3/0 circle hooks. You want to use enough lead to hold bottom. And this is all nighttime fishing, and anywhere from about 9 o'clock on up is when the fish have been biting the best. And also, if the fish are spooky, you want to go down to a little bit lighter leader. But at night, it's not that big of a deal. But in the daytime, if they're spooky, lighter leader is definitely better. And he prefers to fish off the moon, which we're getting off that moon. And he says the bite is usually better even after 9:30. And he recommends to chum with cut chunks versus block chum. The block chum attracts a lot of sharks. Now, I got a photo here, and this is a 12-pound cubera snapper or a huge mangrove, I'm not sure. And I caught this on a pinfish. And when they're this size, they're really hard to tell apart. And I do believe this is really a cubera, but it could be a giant mangrove.
I'll take it one way or the other.
We'll call it a mangrove tonight.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. But, offshore also, dolphin are still one of our best bets. We've been finding dolphin anywhere from 400 feet of water on out to 2,000 feet, which is roughly anywhere from 4 to 15 miles offshore. And there's been big patches of sargassum as well as a lot of scattered sargassum coming through. And these schoolies are being caught off the larger weed patches. And there's also been birds working over these schools of fish, and they've been moving to the south and areas of that scattered grass. Now, if the grass isn't too thick, you can try trolling through them. They've been trolling through the grass, that is. They've been eating rig ballyhoo along with small lures and feathers. And if you can get in front of those birds and cast to those fish, you can cast live baits or soak some cut baits around those weed patches. You also get some bites. And there's also a lot of small baits around these patches of grass, mostly small blue runners. You can drop a sabiki down, sabiki those baits up. That's what they're eating. And most of the fish have been schoolies anywhere from the 4 to 6 pound range. Got a photo here. This is some regular customers of ours from Engine Overhaul Service out of Miami. And this is a nice dolphin catch that we had last weekend, or actually last Friday before the weather got bad. Now moving inshore, snook fishing remains good in the inlets and also in the surf off the beaches. In the inlets, you want to fish with live herrings, pilchards, pinfish, croakers, or bounce jigs or soft plastics and pink or chartreuse along the bottom. Best fishing is going to be in the evenings. The snook have also been biting on both tides, but the Alcoin tide has been the best because the water is not as clear generally. The fish have also moved off the beaches where they're being caught from both the shore and by the boat. If you're shore-bound, try walking the beach in the early mornings or late afternoons. Cast green and white bass assassin 4-inch jerkbaits into that trough just off the beach. And if the seas are calm and the water clear, you'll probably be able to sight cast to these fish cruising in the surf. Smaller fish are roaming in schools, and those larger fish have been in singles or pairs. And then in South Biscayne Bay, the bonefish have been active on the inside and outside flats, and the permit have been mostly on the outside flats from Soldier's Key south to Angelfish Creek. You want to fish early in the morning before that water gets too hot, and then late in the afternoon as it starts to cool down, and especially after afternoon rainstorm will cool that water down. Those bonefish have been coming up on top of the flats, and they've been tailing on the lower stages of the tide. And then the permit, they've been cruising those hard bottom flats on the ocean side, and on the higher stages of the tide, they've been along the deeper edges of the channels. And the best bait for both has been small live crabs, crab pattern flies, or pink and brown skimmer jigs.
Well, thank you, Jimbo. Here are the R&R tackle hotspots for the southeast region. Inshore, catch and release snook off the beaches or in your local inlet using live and artificial baits in the early mornings and evenings. And then offshore, troll rigged baits and small lures or cast live and cut baits to dolphin offshore around weed patches, floating debris, and under birds. You were doing that today, weren't you?
I was. Under those birds. Gotta find those birds. All right, well, it's August, and in the Fish Bites East region, it's looking like the shallow reefs and inlets are holding a lot of mangroves, and some are coming into the inlets to spawn and eat the hatching turtles. I'm wearing the perfect shirt for that. All right, tell us more, Mike.
Well, August is always one of the best times of year to target mangrove snapper in my region. The fish are schooled up on the reefs and wrecks, as well as moving into the inlets and those beachfront rock piles. You have a lot of bait as well as those turtles hatching, so they're coming in to feed on them. For big mangroves, you can't beat the natural reef line in 65 to 75 feet of water, really from like the 6 Mile Reef off Stewart all the way up to Bethel Shoals. There's also good concentrations of the fish on that shallower reef line off Petts Lake and also the one off the Vero Cove. When you target them, you want to anchor up or use a trolling motor to hold your boat in place. Put out a chum bag with ground chum, and then add some glass minnows or juvenile pilchards or juvenile sardines, and that'll help you pull the school up closer to the surface. From there, you drift back a sardine or a pilchard on 20-pound gear with 20 or 30-pound fluorocarbon leader and a 2R trocar circle hook. Then around the inlets, you really want to fish those slack tides. That's when the fish come out of the rocks to feed, and you can cast anything from a live shrimp to a sardine, a pilchard, a sand perch, put it up tight against the rocks. Average snapper you're going to get there is going to be 1 to 3 pounds. More on the reef, it's going to be like 1 to 5 pounds, and fish up to 10 pounds or more. I got a photo that goes with this. That's Dan Kleisner with a nice mangrove snapper. He caught that off the reef line at Peck's Lake. He was fishing with Captain Butch Constable, and that fish ate a live sardine. The other thing we had, prior to this weekend, or this past weekend storm, the sailfish bite was the best thing going for blue water anglers, with some boats having a dozen or more shots at fish every day. While the sails are kind of spread out in anywhere from 50 to 260 feet of water, it seems like the best action was concentrated off Stewart in that 70 to 90 foot of water range and about a mile south of St. Lucie Inlet. When those boats that were catching the most fish were working the bait schools, they were marking them on the machines, then repeatedly circling the bait schools and sight casting as well. They had a bait ready whenever they hooked a fish. If another fish came up with it, they were throwing a bait out to that and doubling up. And just about everybody in that group was fishing live baits, either pilchards or thread fins. You can slow troll, you can drift, or you can power drift with a kite out. When I was out there, we did some live chumming with juvenile sardines and had a bunch of fish pop up and respond to them, and we just threw baits out to them. We were 2 for 6 doing that. The average sailfish in my region is going to be 40 to 50 pounds.
All right, tell me about some snook, Mike.
Well, one of the good aspects of last week's storm is that it will move a lot of the snook around. So the fish that were on the beach move out to deeper water and they come back again, but often in a new location. So it kind of mixes things up and gets things, going again. The inlets are hosting the most consistent snook bites. The schools are stationed either in the inlets or along the beaches, either north or south of the inlet, within about 100, maybe 200 yards of either side. And as the water cleans up this week, we'll start to see the schools of juvenile sardines and pilchards move back to the beach, maybe even see some minnows move back in on the beach. And that'll draw a lot of fish to places like the Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge, the Lake Worth and Juneau Beach Piers, Normandy Beach in St. Lucie County, South Beach in Fort Pierce, and the Vero Cove will get a lot of fish. If you'd like to throw artificials or flies, the most consistent action is at dawn and dusk. Those low light periods when the fish don't get a really good look at your offering. You can throw a copper juice colored saltwater assassin sea shad, or you can throw a baitfish pattern fly and do really well. One of the things, once the sun is high up in the sky, it's really time to switch over to a live bait like a pilchard, a threadfin, a croaker, a sand perch, even a mullet. We're starting to see the first of the fall mullet run. The first stragglers are starting to show up on the beach. So any of those baits are going to work. Average snook is anywhere from 4 to 14 pounds with fish to 20 pounds or more. And I have a photo. That's Brooks Fuller and his sister Madison with a snook that Brooks caught at the St. Lucie Inlet, and that fish ate a live threadfin. The other thing, we're starting to see the resident tarpon population on the move as they work their way towards the inlets over the next month or so, as that fall mullet run starts to ramp up a little bit. Until then, places like the Boy Scout camp on the Loxahatchee River, the Crossroads in Stewart, Big Mud Creek up by the power plant, Harbor Branch, the canal at Harbor Branch, and the South Fork and Wide River areas of the St. Lucie River are going to have mixed bag tarpon right now. There's also fish around pretty much every one of the inlets on the outgoing tides. The majority of these fish are going to be focused on small baits like minnows or juvenile pilchards or menhaden, but they'll also be locked on the resident mullet populations in those areas. Target them with a 4-inch Houdini colored sea shad. You cast it right to the rolling fish, let it sink for a second or two, then just reel it very slow. Don't give it any action. You'll feel the little tap. That's the bite set to hook. Or you can put out a live mullet or threadfin behind the boat and just move them along on your trolling motor, wait for the bite. Average tarpon right now is anywhere from 20 to 50 pounds. There's 10-pounders even in the mix, and 80-pounders in the mix as well.
That'd be a nice surprise. Well, tell me about the bass, Mike.
Yeah, the water levels on Lake Okeechobee are slowly rising. That's allowing a lot of the bass to move deeper into the marsh, closer to shore. I was talking to Bass Pro Scott Martin. He was saying, those fish that were on the outside grass lines on Observation Shoal like a month ago, they've all moved in closer to shore, and they're on the Kissimmee grass and eelgrass beds, not on the edge, but just in a little bit. At the same time, the bluegill are still spawning, so a lot of the bass are focusing on them. You want to look for the bluegill beds in 3 feet of water and target the fish with topwater plugs or Bass Assassin, either an Elite Shiner or a Bass Assassin Dye Dapper in any of the darker colors, and ideally with a chartreuse tail. If you're just looking to rack up numbers, find the running water. Really, most of it's going to either be around the mouth of the Kissimmee River or around the pump stations, water control structures inside the Kissimmee River. That running water is cooler, has more oxygen, moves the bait around. You can throw a lipless crankbait or a swim bait and just crush the fish. The average bass in Okeechobee right now, 1 to 3 pounds, with fish to 6 pounds in the mix.
All right, thank you, Hollywood. Here are the TH Marine hotspots for the East Region inshore. Snook along the north side of Palm Beach Inlet. On the incoming tide, use live pilchards, sardines, or croakers up on the shelf. And then offshore, sailfish about a mile south of St. Lucie Inlet in 70 to 110 feet of water. Use live threadfins, pilchards, or trolled ballyhoo.
Yeah, Captain Mike Holliday's been posting videos, slow-mo videos of sailfish all weekend.
I saw
long.
that. It looks awesome.
Yeah, looks like fun. All right, stay with us, anglers. We're headed to the Garmin Panhandle region when we come back. But first, let's see what kind of goodies and trouble Dave's getting into over at the CCA Workbench for new products.
Just making noise, that's all.
That's all.
Hey, rain is no factor when you've got a nice gill jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Lightning is a factor. Wind is a factor. Rain is no factor.
Rain is no factor.
No factor.
Very fashionable. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Ameritrail. Load. Launch. Relax. Real Legends. Exclusively at Bell's. Okuma. Inspired Fishing. Discover Crystal River, Florida. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
At the pinnacle of super high output, 4-stroke outboard performance, you'll find Yamaha VMAX SHO. Yamaha's game-changing SHO technology. From exhilarating V6 models to the sleek inline 4s, there's a VMAX SHO for everything from bass to bonefish. It's an extended family of 4-strokes engineered for lightweight, inspiring performance, and rock-solid reliability. Discover VMAX SHO and elevate your expectations.
Garmin LiveScope, I tell you right now, if you don't have it, you are behind. It's just wild. It's like a video game.
If you do not have that Garmin LiveScope, you are definitely missing out.
Bassmaster Classic Champion!
Here in the Florida Keys, we're doing our best to keep guests and residents safe from COVID-19. Here's how you can help. Please respect each other and wear masks in public places. Please don't gather in large groups and maintain 6 feet of separation. Take 20 seconds and wash your hands with soap and water or use hand sanitizer. Enjoy the Florida Keys and stay safe. For more details, go to flakeys.com.
Dave, we got some new products here at the CCA Workbench. What
Yes,
do we got?
we do.
Got some clothes to look at here?
We got a lot of stuff from Bell's Apparel, from Real Legends brand here. The first one we have, we got 3 outfits here. This is the first men's outfit here. That's the SS Freeline V-neck shirt. It's made of moisture wicking quick dry fabric. It's very light, as you can tell.
Yes.
UPF 30 sun protection. Just a great little shirt. You put that under that rain jacket there. They got a little rain jacket as well. This lightweight seam sealed rain jacket. It's great for Florida's rainy season. You know, it's a simple but ultralight design and
Very
adjustable ties on the hoods and elastic wristbands and the high neck, so it, keeps, higher it goes, keeps the water from going in.
Yep.
And also you got some Bonefish shorts there, which is a, nice cargo shorts, got tons of pockets, for all your gear, and they're got a water repellent fabric. Comes in a lot of different colors, and the side elastic for the fellas like me who need a little extra
little room.
Next is Tommy's favorite shirt.
Oh, look, you could look like me. There we go.
Yeah, look like Tommy Derringer. Have too much gear to carry, it's no problem because you got all the pockets. They
That's
got
right,
4
you do.
pockets
Look at
up
that.
there in the front. 6 chest pockets and several hoops. You can loop stuff too. UPF 50 sun protection. It's got the back ventilation and the underarm stuff, so it's keep you nice and cool. They got the mackerel pants to go with them, which are a nice pair of long pants that actually will zip off into a pair of shorts really quickly if you want to. It's great for every outdoor activity. It's convertible zip-off pants, exactly like I
like
said.
these. I have some of these. You wear these.
They
on
are
the
very
boat.
nice. Got 6 pockets, and they're very made out of lightweight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's SPF 30 as well. Last but not least, for the Bell's Real Legends clothing, we have a ladies' outfit. It's a Freeline checkered hoodie. This Freeline style provides moisture management technology and quick dry properties. UPF 30 sun protection. It's got that very nice little front pockets and the subtle checkered design there.
This hood is what I wear a hood on the boat almost every day.
Keeps the
keeps
sun
you cool,
off your
sun
neck
off
and
you.
your face.
Yep.
Last but not least, they have the Adventure woven shorts. Perfect for the land or sea. This pair of full shorts provides SPF 50 sun protection and moisture management, quick dry technology, all the good stuff.
Zipper pocket.
Exactly, and you can go to Bell's at Real Legends and find those. Next, we've got some Gill stuff. This is all brand new from Gill, 2020, brand new stuff they sent me. Gill's been making offshore gear for, 80 years or something over in the UK. All the big yachting guys wear it, all the sailors, and they've been getting more and more into the fishing in the last 4 or 5 years. They've actually got gillfishing.com as their website. You can go check this out. But that's the 3-layer jacket there. It's got taped seams.
Yeah.
There's a really nice zipper on there, waterproof zipper. It's got a really nice, you were talking about the hood. This one is made to go really fast. A lot of the bass guys like to go 60, 70 miles an hour. This has a vortex technology, so it keeps
won't fly off.
It keeps the hood on your head. And like I said, again, it's got the 3 layers of waterproof, nice rubber cuffs, so you can make the full adjustment and keep everything down. Comes in 2 different colors, taupe and this gray. This is the bib that comes with them.
Got to have the bibs that go with it.
Got to have a bib if you want to stay dry. And what's really cool about the bib is they got the zipper down the side. It's a hidden zipper, and it goes all the way down the leg, so you can step right out of them. That's always very important that you can get out of these things really quick when you want to, because they get, you can get hot real quick, and you want to get out of them. You can get out.
You
of
leave
them.
your shoes on when you take it off, too,
Exactly,
which is nice.
and but these are really breathable. So what's really great about them is even in the hot days, your heat goes out and it stays in. So go to gillfishing.com and check out the 3L jacket and the 3L bib, the Pro Tournament Pros. Last but not least, we got some Starbright aluminum protectorant. If you've got aluminum on your boat, your T-tops, your outriggers, anything aluminum metal, you spray this on it and it shines it up and keeps it protected. It won't start getting all chalky and messed up. You can put them on for your tower or anything. It guards against corrosion or pitting. Sometimes aluminum will get pitted in salt water, but you spray this on it regularly, wipe it down and wipe it off, and you're really good to go.
Everything Starbright, I use all their stuff. Everything works just like they say it does. It works great.
You're correct. That's one good thing about them. It works like it says it does.
All right. Bree, we got some good stuff over here. What you got for us?
We do. Well, fellas, word on the sea is if you want some of the biggest and best mangrove snappers in the state, you're going to want to head up to the Garmin Panhandle region, right, Pat?
Hey, Bree, I tell you what, we do have mangrove snappers, and it's a year-round fishery. The biggest mangroves are caught in the Gulf on bottom structure in 70-plus feet of water year-round, but inshore or near shore right now, late summer, early fall, is the best time to target the black snappers, closer to the beach. But they are definitely the smaller versions. The bigger ones are out in the Gulf. Either way, inshore or offshore, live bait on light leaders is the way to target them. Mangroves respond very well to chumming, and that's where the RHODAN anchoring system really comes into play, especially in the Gulf when you're sitting on top of bottom structure in 60 to 80 feet of water. When that chum is coming from a stationary boat, those snappers are going to literally come right to your lower unit. You want a free line of bait, the same type of bait you're chumming with, and have your hook hidden inside that bait. You want to manually pull your line off the rod tip so that bait sinks just like the chum bait. Great baits are baby herring, little small pilchards, shrimp. Gulf side, the mangroves can exceed 10 pounds, but a 6 to 8 pounder is a very nice one. Inside, the mangroves are going to run 10 to 14 inches. And we've been catching them pretty steady off the jetties, the bridges right there by the inlets. And there's a photo sent in from Panama City, Luke Dodd and his friend. It's a pair of nice mangroves caught over natural bottom in 80 feet of water, fishing with small live pilchards. And then staying offshore, the amberjacks reopened in Gulf waters August 1st, and the fishing has been really good, particularly in that deeper water. The state water wrecks have some jacks, but most are short, so if you want to find the better ones, fish in 150 plus feet of water over high relief natural bottom or steel wrecks. You want to use a lively live bait on a long leader. Great baits include blue runners, mullet, small bonitas if you can keep them alive, and threadfin herrings. Basically, any bait that is high energy, you want that bait to really want to swim hard. Drop your bait on a Carolina rig, 10 to 15 feet a leader to the depth you're marking fish, generally halfway to 2/3 of the way to the bottom, depending on how deep the bottom structure is. And when you get a bite, you might want to just drift off that structure to keep from getting wrecked from the fish you're hooked up with, but keep other baits in the water. The hooked fish will often fire up the other amberjacks. You're going to follow him, and off the structure, you're going to, continue to get bites. AJs are running 25 to 50 pounds. And then moving inshore, we finally had some really good weather lately. It's been calm and hot. Perfect conditions for fishing the beach for blacktip sharks, and they are numerous. You're going to find them between the sandbars throughout the panhandle, especially where you have concentrations of ladyfish, bluefish, and blue runners. The beaches of Shell Island are a hot spot. The beaches just west of Destin Pass are as well. The Eglin beaches between Fort Walton Beach and Navarre, also a great spot to look for them. You can sight fish them, from a boat by easing along on your trolling motor, or you can set fish them from the beach. Either way, a small ladyfish, alive if sight fishing, or dead if set fishing, probably the best bait out there. You can't get a ladyfish, go with a bluefish, a herring, a cigar minnow. The blacktips are running 20 to 50 pounds. And then finally, inshore, the big redfish are being caught, particularly around the major bridges, the big bridges in Panama City and also the 3 Mile Bridge in Pensacola. In Panama City, lure fishing using topwaters in the afternoon or marking fish deep and dropping swim baits to them has been the preferred technique. Look for bird activity or topwater activity. Usually it's going to happen up current of the bridge. In Pensacola, use your bottom machine to locate those fish and then fish it with a live bait on a Carolina rig. Menhaden, croakers, spot minnows are all great baits. These, mid-bay bridge redfish are all big bull redfish. Definitely over slot, so treat them well and make sure you have a healthy release.
Thanks, Pat. Here are the blue water outrigger hotspots for the Panhandle region. Inshore, Pat says Hathaway Bridge and Tyndall Bridge in Panama City for those big bull redfish he was talking about on top water in the afternoon. And then offshore, amberjack on deep water structure using live baits like blue runners and small bonita.
All right, East Side, you're up next. When we come back, we're talking with our resident captain here from the Alvey Reels. Yeah, Northeast region. Right. Yeah, and then we're seeing what the Bell's Central East region is producing. But before we go, we want to remind you that if you want to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, be sure to head to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube page where we're always uploading new adventures. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by TRON, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Alvey Reels, a better way to fish. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing, book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. and strike zone fishing.
Finding a shoreline is easy. Finding a sure thing is not. For over 20 years, anglers from Kitty Hawk to California and every shore in between have come to know one thing: that nothing says no to fish bites. So just stop with the fishing and get busy with the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures or visit fishbites.com.
Come explore untouched Florida, where you'll step into holy sea cow and fish pristine waters where you'll reel in, whoa! Come discover Crystal River with exciting adventures and incredible surprises everywhere. From exhilarating river adventures to scalloping in the Gulf to delicious fish to fork cuisine, this is the place where you can relax into Just a short drive from Tampa and Orlando is the amazing Discover Crystal River, Florida. Learn more at discovercrystalriverfl.com.
Become part of a tradition in Crystal River and Homosassa. Scalloping is like an Easter egg hunt, Florida style. Dive into the warm, shallow waters of the Gulf of Mexico and fill your bag with delectable bay scallops. And don't worry about dinner, a local restaurant will cook your catch. Discover Crystal River invites you to plan your scallop season adventure from July 1st through September 24th at discovercrystalriverfl.com. Okay, Tommy, this is your moment and time to shine from the Alvey Reels Northeast region. You got to make them proud. Let's hear your weekend report.
I will try my best. You know, you said that, talking about Pat having some big mangrove snappers. We've got some big mamma jamma mangroves. Mangoes. Yes. We've got some really big mangrove snappers, and I've talked about them a lot over the last couple of weeks as those spawners that we get were fired up. I spoke to a couple of our offshore snapper specialists, and they tell me they've had a little slower than normal season of mango fishing, but the bite still has been pretty good. And there's still a few of those huge 10-pound plus fish around, but the major spawns are pretty much done for the season. Now, I got some reports that they are still catching them pretty good in the south end of Georgia and up around Amelia Island. You typically find those mangoes on the bigger ledges in anywhere from about 100 to 140 feet of water. And if you're fishing the bottom, you can use a variety of live and dead baits, but probably the most fun and effective way to catch those mangoes is, like everybody's been talking about tonight, is to chum them up to the surface. When they spawn around those full and new moons from May till about this time of year, you can start chumming them up to the top using those chunk sardines. Now, you're probably want to downsize your gear to like a 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbon leader with a smaller 3/0 Eagle Claw circle hook, especially during the day. You can go a little heavier if you're fishing at night. Then you just float a chunk of that sardine back with a chum. Now, we also have a really good mangrove bite happening inshore right now. Just about any of the docks in Palm Coast and around downtown St. Augustine are holding some really decent size, some slot size snapper. A live shrimp or a little finger mullet on a circle hook or a really small jig head is the way to go for those inshore snapper. And I've got a photo here. This is my good buddy Nate Creeder from Team Creeder Fish. He sent me this photo of him and his son Cannon with some big Northeast Florida mangrove snappers.
Wow.
Man, those guys,
kidding.
That's right. Those guys slay some snappers, man. Nice. Now, staying offshore this time of year, we get a sneaky little run of cobia starting to show up on the nearshore reefs and wrecks. There's been some really big sharks hanging around those areas, and a lot of times those cobia are going to be flowing around and swimming with those sharks. A lot of the captains I spoke to this week told me they've had those sharks with the cobia right behind them swim up to the boat while they're landing their kingfish. So if you're going to be out there this weekend trolling around for some kingfish, probably a really good idea to have a couple rods rigged just in case those cobia show up. You can also give chumming a try for those cobia, especially around some of the higher relief structures. Net a bunch of pogies if you can find them and chum them alive, or you can even cut them up and chum them over the reefs, and you might have a cobia or two show up. Now moving inshore, you know, we're getting into the heart of our tarpon season. Those tarpon, they're pretty thick along the beaches, in the pogie pods, in the north end of the region. The early morning bite along the bait pods has been best, but you know what, don't overlook what's happening just after the afternoon thunderstorms, or then right before dark. I spoke to Captain Danny Flynn, who tells me he's been on a great tarpon bite from Mayport all the way to Fernandina, right there along the beach. He's just looking for the bait pods that are getting blown up. If you're looking to catch a big tarpon, you might want to give Danny a call. He's really on them this time of year. In St. Augustine, there's been quite a few bigger fish showing up along the bridges and at the inlets on the incoming tide first thing in the morning. Find some big live mullet and then float or free line them back to where you see those fish busting or rolling. And I've got another picture here. This is a picture I took of my client, Tommy Scott, with a big tarpon he recently caught with me right there along the beach in St. Augustine. I love that picture. It makes it look like a robot, like those tarpon do.
Yep.
So staying inshore, I'm gonna leave the redfish alone for one more week. You know, I've been getting more and more snook reports than redfish reports really lately. And it's been pretty cool the amount of snook we have in the region right now. They're thick in the usual areas from Daytona to Palm Coast, but I've got so many good reports coming from St. Augustine and even Jacksonville this week. The bridges in Palm Coast and St. Augustine, they've been holding those snook on the incoming tide at first light. A live mullet or a big shrimp, either free-lined or on a fish finder rig, on the bottom along the pilings, that's been working really well. Matanzas Inlet has also been holding some nice snook on the same tide along the rocks and the docks. There's also been some smaller snook up on the flats around Pellicer Creek. Topwater plugs at first light have been the ticket for those snook, and I've got one last picture here. Barbara Farthing, she sent me this picture of her big snook she caught under the 312 bridge in St. Augustine. She was free lining a large live shrimp for that fish, and that's really cool. I live about less than a mile from that bridge, and I've never caught a snook there, but I've been getting reports.
Try it now.
Yeah, I've been getting reports of, you know. Well,
Tommy,
here,
hot spots.
Hot spots. The strike zone hot spots for the Northeast region. Inshore tarpon along the beaches and the pogie pods and in the inlets. Free line a live pogie or large mullet around the bait pods, and then offshore, that mix of kingfish and cobia on the nearshore reefs and wrecks throughout the region. Slow troll for kings and have a pitch rod rigged for the cobia.
So how long did it take you to memorize your report today?
I just made the whole thing up as I was going.
Yeah, just rolled right off the tongue.
Yeah,
All right, let's drop down into the Bell's Central East region and check in on Captain Jim Ross, who has an exciting lineup for us for the weekend. Hey, Jim.
Hey, gang, and welcome aboard there, Tommy. Doing a great job tonight. I've been listening in.
Thanks, man.
And it's good to hear you come in there and just rock it like you're rocking it, bud. But, you know, as far as the mangrove snapper go, they are the theme species of the week. And, of course, they're also one of our best bets for guys and gals that are going to be fishing in the Central East region this weekend. We've had a lot of, wind and waves because of the tropical storm/hurricane that went by. But I'll tell you, the outer reefs are starting to clear up, and the middle range reefs where the mangrove snapper are in that 80 to 130 foot zone are going to be cleaning up relatively quickly as well, because we've had a lot of calm weather here the last couple of days. So you want to get on those reefs and wrecks, and by chumming on them, you can pull those fish up off of those bottom structures. And like a lot of the guys have said today, get those fish right up to the back of the boat where it's really fun to catch them. You toss a couple of chunks in, you slip a 3/0 circle hook into one of them, you toss that overboard, and then you just pull line off your spool. Let it just free drift back there. Don't let it have any drag. Throw a couple of more chunks in behind it, and as the fish come up, they start getting fired up, and eventually one of them's going to jump on that thing. And that way you've got them up in the water column where they're away from the structure, and you can typically land them. Because like Tommy's region, we here in the Central East region have some fish up into the 10-pound range as well. Now, most of our fish aren't quite that big. Most of them are in that 4-pound, 5-pound range. And I've got a picture of one here that Gene DeLucio from Ponce Inlet caught while he was out this past week, just before the storm came through. Now, my second species is amberjack. And like I said, inshore waters have been a little dirty, so look for those fish to be on the farther reefs, wrecks, deeper structures, 150 to 250 feet of water. You want to drop a live pinfish, a pogie, a grunt, or a croaker down over those structures, and immediately probably you will enter the house of pain, because we've got some pretty good amberjack numbers on those reefs and wrecks right now. Most of our fish are running about 25 to 45 pounds, but some of those fish are running even larger. And of course, the guys fishing them with vertical speed jigs or with large nylon hair jigs tipped with either a live or frozen bait are catching them as well. Current's been a little strong, so you want to set your drift up a little farther ahead of the structure to make sure that you get your baits down in time to get hooked up, but it should not be a problem whatsoever. Now, swinging inshore, redfish, they've been all over the shallows of the Indian and Banana Rivers. Mosquito Lagoon this week, especially in the middle part of Mosquito Lagoon. And the guys that have been out there either before the rain has hit or coming in after the rain. A lot of guys are kind of slipping out after the rain ends. They're doing pretty good because it's cooling the water down, and the fish are getting a little more active in the afternoon, especially after we've just come off of this full moon. So you want to look for areas where there's a lot of bait or where there's a culvert that's flowing. That's going to be your key areas to find the redfish right now, because they're feeding on mud minnows, glass minnows, shrimp, and finger mullet that are being swept around by some of those moving water areas. And then I wanted to do a lobster recap for the last species of the night. The divers that went out over the mini season did really well in this region right here. The Bell Central East region, the visibility was 25 to 40 feet on most of the popular reefs and wrecks in 60 to 90 feet of water. And the lobster were pretty plentiful. Now, I didn't get a lot of reports from guys that did the nearshore stuff down in Vero and Sebastian, where you can actually jump right in from the surf wearing snorkel and mask and go out and get bugs right there within a couple of 100 yards of the beach. But hopefully I'll have some more reports once the regular season opens back up for you guys. But the guys that got out a little farther, they're averaging 2 to 3 and sometimes 4 pound on average lobsters. And some of our lobsters were going up into that 5 and 8 pound range. And those are some nice big bugs. And I've got a picture here, Andrew Cruz from Ponce Inlet with a couple of really nice lobster that they got during the mini season. Cute. And so hopefully everybody will get a chance to get out there and get on some of those bugs if you get out of the boat. I don't get out of the boat.
You know what, Jim, Brie's been rubbing it in our faces all night. She gets to go lobstering tomorrow.
I'm so excited.
And I don't. What's up with that?
I'll send you, I'll FedEx you.
She's going to overnight all of us some lobster, I think.
That's what I'm saying. I'm expecting a FedEx package to show up on my doorstep on Friday or Saturday morning, and I'll be happy.
Will do. I will do that for you, Jim. Don't worry.
We have to send. If you're sending one to Jim, you have to send one to everybody.
Send one to everyone.
Lobsters for everybody.
Everybody gets lobster this week, right? Everybody.
All right, thanks, Jim. Great report as always, man, and good talking to you. Here are the RHODAN hotspots for the Central East region. Inshore, redfish along the eastern shorelines of the Mosquito Lagoon. Use a mud bug or drunk monkey saltwater assassin 4-inch sea shad, rigged weedless, that's a lot to say. Offshore, chum and chunk for mangrove snapper on the 80 to 130 foot structures.
Drunk monkey, saltwater assassin, 4-inch sea shad. Sally sells sea shads down by the seashore. So he was saying, I know, well, you know, here I am. Last week for mini season, I did the inshore, nearshore lobstering in like 10 feet of water. I got out there, I had 10 minutes to kind of swim around. The viz was horrible. I was just out the Boynton Inlet, but I know a lot of people that actually did that and were very successful. Cool. So it was a fun little unsuccessful trip for me, but hopefully for regular season, I'm first in line to get myself a lobster.
You're first.
Everyone else got bugs for mini season and I didn't, so it's my turn.
Your turn.
I'm FedExing all of you lobsters.
I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait.
Okay. All right, we've got one more region to reel in here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, so stay tuned. And we will be bringing you your Discover Crystal River Northwest Captain in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by YAMAHA. Reliability starts here. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA, Fish for the World, Sportsman's Adventures, Fishing for Adventure, and Bells, everything you need to live life local.
When you live on an island, surrounded by warm, clear water, and a million ways to enjoy it, it's amazing you'll ever have time to come up for air. Key West. Close to perfect, far from normal.
Get a great deal on the Kubota L-Series tractor. Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota L-Series tractor is the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. for over 10 years. With a powerful Kubota diesel engine and dependable gear or HST transmission, it's ready to take on your toughest projects. Right now, get the L2501 HST for payments as low as $149 a month.
Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's highest volume Kubota dealer.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Have you ever felt your heart pounding while feeling the power of a tarpon in the Florida Keys? Or experienced the changing colors of a mahi as you bring it on board? Whether it's in the Bahamas, the Florida Keys, Guatemala, or the Florida Everglades, Murphy's Law Sports Fishing has the ability to guide you to the fish of a lifetime. To book your trip today, call 305-246-0673 or go to murphyslawsportfishing.com.
Today's Power Pole tip, we're talking about the Power Pole spikes. The Power Pole spikes come in 2 models. Ultralight, like I'm holding here, which is perfect for kayaks, canoes, paddleboards. The hollow core technology keeps this spike extra light and easy to use in those smaller vessels. The HD model, which stands for heavy duty, of course, is great for your technical poling skiffs, but it's also good for all your beach-going, sandbar-going, pontoon boats, party boats, and even up to big contenders. I go by sandbars from Sarasota to Key West, and I'll see boats using 2 or 3 of them. The neat thing about that is you're avoiding any use of anchors, ropes, or chains, and it's holding your boat tight and secure. And also, they can be paired up with Power Pole Micro, and if you purchase the Power Pole Micro along with a spike, HD or ultralight, Power Pole is going to stroke you a check for $100. And that's today's Power Pole tip.
Look at our Jeff Page pointing at us to get
He's
that
the man.
spike.
Page is
we
the man.
actually use that all the time for the sandbar. It's
Works great.
And
indestructible, basically,
indestructible,
too.
exactly. All right, well, anglers, let's hear what our last captain of the night has to say about the Discover Crystal River Northwest Region Bite this weekend. Talk to us, Hag.
Well, first of all, I'm going to be looking for my FedEx package, too.
Oh, you heard that?
She guaranteed it, Jeff.
Oh, gosh.
But mangrove snapper, we've got them throughout our entire region, from shallow water to deep water. All types of structures hold them: docks, bridges, rock piles, reefs, wrecks. Basically, any high relief structure is going to hold them in our region. In the summer months, they tend to school up in larger numbers on the full moons, getting ready to spawn. They usually do that in July and August, depending on the water temperature. So keep your eye out for that spawn. It's going to be happening either this moon or probably the next moon. They have really good eyesight, so fluorocarbon leader is a must. This has been covered, I'm sure, by all the other captains. The lightest you can get away with, the best. And with that being said, downsizing your hooks, your lead, everything's a good idea. Anything smaller you can get away with, you'll get a lot more bites and lots of chum. Mangrove snapper will chum up good and get the bite going a whole lot better. As far as baits go, small pinfish, sardines, shrimp are probably our top 3 live baits. Cut bait, fresh shrimp, cut sardines work really well. And I've got a great photo here of a really nice mangrove snapper from our west coast.
That is a really nice one there, Jeff.
We get some good ones over here. Speaking of some good ones, we got a great gag grouper bite right now. It remains strong throughout the summer months right now. With the summer being hot right now, you want to look for those cooler bottom temperatures. So you're going to get out a little bit deeper. 90 to 250 foot range is holding good fish over rock piles, ledges. Standard bottom rig with 100 to 150 pound fluorocarbon leader. 8 to 12 ounce egg sinker depending on the current, and 7 to 12 hook depending on the size bait you're using. I always said this when I'm talking about grouper fishing: start off with that cut bait, fish that hard, cut sardines, cut thread fins, get the fish fired up. The bite slows down a little bit, switch to the live baits, the pinfish, and the pigfish keep the bite going. And I've got a photo here of a couple of nice West Coast gags with Aiden and Trey.
Nice. Nice fish there, Jeff. Tell me about the snook bite.
The snook bite remains strong throughout the lower half of the region right now. Reports are coming in from Tampa Bay to Crystal River. In Tampa Bay, want to look for fish around mangrove points with good current flow. From St. Pete to Anclote, you want to look for fish around the beaches and passes, bridges and jetties and docks. And from Hudson to Crystal River, you want to fish those outer barrier islands right now. Live pinfish for the whole region. The sardines is kind of a little bit the south part of my region, but under a cork or free line is best bet. 2 to 4 feet at 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbon leader. And when you're fishing the jetties and anything that's got any gut structure, you might want to bump up to 40. 2/0 to 4/0 circle hooks. And remember to be careful handling your fish right now with the hotter weather and these bigger fish, and a lot of them are females out there. Take a little bit extra time to revive them. Get a photo real quick and get them back in the water, and take a little bit more time to release them as quick as possible. And I've got a photo here of a nice Tampa Bay snook.
Very nice.
How about the redfish, Jeff?
Redfish in the entire region. Fish at the top of the tide, mullet schools from the south part of my region to Cedar Key from St. Pete seems to be the trend. If you can find the mullet, you'll find the redfish. Speaking of mullet and cut ladyfish are probably one of the best baits for them right now, and live pinfish, either free-lined or under a cork. In the northern part of the region, from Teton Beach to Apalachicola, the fish are on the outer islands and points, oyster bars and shell bars, and cuts with moving water. Fresh cut shrimp or live shrimp are working good, and as artificials go, 1/4 ounce or a 1/2 ounce spoon is hard to beat for the artificial for the redfish.
So Jeff, I keep reminiscing on our scallop trip over at the Plantation Inn. Do you have any scalloping reports?
Right now, they're a little deeper right now. We got these full moon tides, so if you can get out on the lower part of the tide, first thing in the morning, you're going to get a little bit shallower water and be able to get them in those deeper waters when it comes up to high tide. So best bet's getting that 6 to 8 feet of water, which would usually be at high tide, and you can get it down a little easier when it's lower out there. And from what I've been hearing, the reports up in Crystal River have been better than when we were up there, so they're getting a lot more of them.
Wow, we got a lot of them, so
Yeah,
that's a good report
I'm
to
in
hear.
next year for that trip.
Okay, you better be.
All
Sign
right.
up now.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, you were missed.
Thanks, Jeff. I missed you too, man. Here are the Alta equipment hotspots for the Northwest region. Inshore, snook around bridges, docks, outside bars and passes. Use free-line sardines and pinfish. And then offshore, grouper, chewing in the 85 to 250 feet of water over rock piles and ledges. Pinfish are what you want to use on a standard bottom rig.
But you had other plans.
If you know what? I hate to miss a chance to hang out with Jeff.
I know, we all do. All right, we are all geared up and ready to go catch some mangoes, whatever region you plan on fishing this weekend, but don't go anywhere just yet. We have to tell you what species we're fishing for next week, right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Tommy, you won't be here to tell them.
I won't.
We'll be right back.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The YAMAHA 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven YAMAHA reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new YAMAHA V8 XTO offshore.
Why is Casa Vieja Lodge on everyone's bucket list?
Left teaser! Left flat as well, 2 fish! They're everywhere! Right flat teaser as well! Left flat, right flat teaser!
Come to the Casa Vieja Lodge and check it off your list.
All right, guys, next week we're talking pompano. Pompanos. So make sure you tune into that.
Delicious little buggers.
They are delicious little buggers.
It's like a little pork chop.
Yeah,
They're very
you're
tender
right.
and fatty.
Tommy, thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
this
for
week.
having me. I enjoyed it, as
We're gonna
always.
miss you next week, but we'll see you on the air. Thank you guys for joining us.